Hey, what's up everybody? It's Andy from CleanSwifter.com, and I'm here to show you another refactoring from Martin Fowler's book, Refactoring, Improving the Design of Existing Code. This week in Swift 3, I'm going to show you how to do Martin Fowler's refactoring, split temporary variable. Now this is a bad habit. This refactoring fixes a bad habit of mine that goes all the way back to my first couple classes in computer science. Specifically, this bad habit is when you create a temporary variable that then you reuse and reuse throughout a method for multiple purposes. Now this is bad because these variables often are very poorly named, and as a result, it's really hard to figure out what they do. General best practice is create a variable that's going to be used for a specific purpose, and if you have to then create another temporary variable for a different purpose, do that rather than reuse another temporary variable. So in order to do this, we're basically going to just look for cases in which a temporary variable is used, assigned to multiple times, and then investigate that for whether it's a good candidate to be split into multiple temporary variables. All right, so let's take a look at some code. All right, so here's a view controller in which there's a couple properties here, two strings which represent first and last name, a name label, a welcome label, and then a computed property which represents the person's full name, which is their first name combined with their last name separated by a space. Now down here in viewDidLoad, this is where things get a little ugly. So there's first a variable named I, who knows what I even means, and I gets assigned a string. My first name is with the first name, and then I is assigned to the name label's text. Okay, now I is also assigned a new value here, which is welcome with a space and the full name, and then that new value is then assigned to the welcome label's text value. So I can see what's going on here is that two strings are being created to be ultimately set on the labels, but I have no idea why this variable is being named I or why it's being reused. So now the first way that you can actually get the compiler to help you find out how to fix this is simply change this from a var to a let. Now let me just show you that in Swift, the compiler will alert you to any variables that are defined and only ever assigned to once. Now the compiler is telling us here that I was never mutated, so consider changing to a let, which actually makes it a constant. So I could do this. I could actually, in this case where the compiler is detecting that's only ever assigned to once, I could automatically use the IDE to fix it. But let's go back to the original case. The compiler is not going to identify that as something to be changed because it's assigned to twice, despite this very poorly named variable I. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to change this to let. And what that's going to do is it's going to show the compiler then, I'll be able to lean on the compiler, and it's going to show me every other case where I is then assigned a new value, because these are the ones that I'm going to target for splitting out into its own thing. I've already made the decision that I is being inappropriately reused in ways that don't make sense. Now here, once I switch this to a let, I see that the compiler gives me an error with something that it can suggest a fix. It's telling me consider changing I from let to var in order to make it mutable. While yes, that would make this compile, that's not what I want to do because that's the opposite way of this refactoring. Instead, what I should do here is actually create a new variable, and for now we'll just call it n. And now there's two temp variables here, and I need to actually use n in the new place. So already this is an improvement because I now am using two different temp variables and there's no chance of collision between the two, and it's a step towards making this even better. The final step in this refactoring is to actually come up with a good name for the temporary variables. So let's just call this first name string, and then for the other one we'll call it welcome message string. And now be sure to actually take the new variable names and use them in the right place. So now here, this is the result of the refactoring. you can see what was in where we started with was one single temporary variable that was being reused and very poorly named, such that the code was not very readable. Then now I have two temporary variables, both well named, and used in the resulting way. So there you have it. That is the split temporary variable refactoring from Martin Fowler's book, Refactoring, Improving the Design of Existing Code. You can buy the book in the Amazon affiliate link in the description for this video. I hope to see you next time for another refactoring. And in the meantime, happy cleaning.